and look at projections for newer models. So you're really able to maximize the gadget for the now. Yes. All right, once you know all that, once you've asked yourself that, of course it doesn't hurt to do a bit more research on the kind of product you want, as well as the variety of brands available in the market. And what better way to find out if a gadget is right for you than finding out how other people find it. Or, I mean, hey, if you want a laptop camera, go out there and test them out. I mean, I know we have a couple of booths here where you could actually feel and see for yourself if the gadget is right for you, because there's no other measure than that, right? Now, for the past 11 years, Gadgets Magazine has dedicated its Gadgets Lab section to reviewing the latest gadgets to help consumers practice practical consumerism as opposed to just simple, frantic frugalism. All right, like I know with the whole economic crisis, people just wanted to hoard their money and save. But now I think we're becoming more open and a bit more fearless. But yet, at the same time, we're also becoming more practical. So in line with our Gadgets Lab section, we have a what's hot, what's not, and our bottom line to sort of help you out when it comes to making that gadget purchase. Right? Now in our case, the way I see it, I've been with gadgets for 5 years now maybe, and you know, for the layman, it might have been hard at first to really try to get it, but I know what features I look for when I test a gadget, and I think we kind of share this in the company. The first key feature we look at is, here we go, value versus price, all right? And the second one is function versus form. Now for value versus price, do not get these two confused because they're completely different and they play a major role in determining the right purchase. Now to put it simply, price looks at affordability or the means to purchase the product or service. So when you look at price, when you think price, you think about if you actually have a way to pay for it, or if you have the cash in hand. That's what you look for. That's what you look at when you look at price. Whereas value looks at the worth, or if the product or service is worth its price. Right? So do you guys get the difference between that? Now, of course, it may vary from person to person just what something is worth, but generally when it comes to a gadget, people value, or at least should value, dependability, usability, and durability, and how it makes your life easier or better. Because then it would be pretty pointless if it didn't make your life better somehow. And just because something is more expensive, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. So think about that. I know I have a story with my mom. She had my dad buy her like an iPod, I don't know, 80 gig something, and she doesn't even know how to use it. And she just basically wanted something that was more expensive, even though it wasn't even something that she would use, you know, trying to upstage us when it comes to the iPod. So one example of this, let me see if I can give this justice. All right. An example, you have your Macs, you have Apple. So the reason why Macs are generally more expensive than your similarly spec'd notebooks is because of hardware and user experience. Now, I have to give credit to our wonderful online editor, IT guy, because, you know, he makes me understand these things. With Apple, you know, they value the fact that it needs to work, that it's easy to use. My own daughter can operate her MacBook. Yeah, she has a MacBook. So she can play with those Magic English Mickey Mouse DVDs that I gave her. So it's really easy to use, seamless user experience, and it's also easy to configure. So the reason why you would pay more for that is because you're paying for the experience and you're paying for the convenience that it gives you. So nowadays, convenience is a luxury. You can't really put a price on that. So that's just one example. Now moving on to the next feature, we have function versus form. I have a little quote here too. It is the pervading law of all things organic and inorganic, of all things physical and metaphysical, of all things human and all things superhuman, of all true manifestations of the head, of the heart, of the soul, that the life is recognizable in its expression, that form ever follows function. This is the law. That sounds like the Ten Commandments. And this was said by an architect named Louis Henry Sullivan, and his quote implies not so much the importance of function over form, but rather that the two are intricately intertwined and inseparable. Now, of course, this is in architecture, but even in the design of gadgets, this still holds true. So you know when they say it's what's inside that counts, that's still true. Even, you know, when you look at a partner, when you consider a relationship with someone, consider this also when you have a relationship with your gadget, because you will end up having a relationship with your gadget. And there is no doubt about it, they're reliable, they're easy, they won't break down on you. So in some cases, but I suppose it really depends on your taste, whether something is fashionable or not. I mean, despite what other trends dictate that, it's really about your personality. And I think a lot of gadgets speak for a person's individuality. I mean, just aside from your Facebook accounts or your social networking accounts, a lot can be said about the gadgets that you use and how you use them. So there, as you can see, I gave you a lot of other examples of a lot of different gadgets that pretty much have form and function together. I know there are more colorful, really candy-colored gadgets out there that are just really fun, that are more feminine and more, you know, pleasing to look at. So there. And of course, to give you the bottom line of this entire talk, this is for the smart shopper and the practical consumer who knows the joys of careful research and discernment and understands as well as appreciates its long-term benefits. So for everyone here, thank you and happy gadget shopping.